The rising cost of everything from gear to gas means higher prices for young athletes to compete across the board.
The rise in costs have largely been in these travel teams. There are coaches to pay for, there's hotels, there's flights, there's on and on and on. It's just gone up significantly over the past generation. And coming out of the pandemic, we're seeing yet another boost in costs.
And this is exposing the economic divide even more. Take a look at this.
Experts caution the higher prices will keep some kids off of the playing field.
If your family can afford those $2,000, $3,000 fees, you're in. And if they can't, you're out. Coming out of the pandemic, we're seeing an even further splintering of that divide.
Yeah, we're seeing it in real time, and it impacts the lives of so many young people. And this write-up from the Washington Post dives deeper into that divide. In youth sports, talent helps, but money rules. Wow. Rising costs leave some families at risk of being left behind. Powerful. Household income is a primary driver in early participation of sports. And only 24% of kids from low-income families, the country's wealthiest households, spend about 4 times as much as impoverished families on their child's sports. We go on further. Natalie Hummel, executive director of Every Kid Sports, a nonprofit that helps low-income families play youth sports, estimates that as many as 6.8 million kids are effectively barred from youth sports by financial constraints. Man, that is just so sad. And just another note, 1 in 3 parents say their youth sports expenses increased last year because of inflation. According to the Aspen Institute's annual State of Play report, and the prospect of another recession could mean less money is invested in parks and recreation departments, and the gap between kids who can afford travel sports and those who can't widens as a result. Now, these families are being forced to decide, as we know, between putting food on the table and being able to embrace the extracurricular activities that their children need. I mean, they need this for their social and mental and physical development. We all know that physical activity also enhances academics as well. So these things are not separate, they actually go together. And Jason Tatum, now a star player for the Boston Celtics of the NBA, knows the struggle of navigating such terrain. Watch this.
For most of my life, I didn't have money. I didn't have a investment account, checking account, a credit card. So I know what it's like to struggle and not have, right? I would like call my mom, like, Mom, how much money is on this debit card? She'd be like, all right, it's $15. You know, that's how much you got. And though I could fill my tank up so I could get to school and back and don't make any stops, you know, because, you know, that tank had to last me for the week.
Powerful story that Jason Tatum sharing with us. I mean, Jackson, I certainly know from my experience too of growing up in a family that was very, very working poor, underline, bold that, and put that in the message in the bottom. And I ran track in high school, and it was really hard. My parents could not even afford the shoes that I needed to be able to compete. And it puts a stigma on you too. I remember feeling very stigmatized.
Well, and interestingly enough, this isn't only, you know, bad for working class families in the country. As you pointed out, sports is really strong and one of the best ways that kids can develop a lot of leadership, teamwork skills, develop coordination, habits of just working out in general. You know, things and skill sets that can stay with us for a lifetime, even if you're not somebody who's athletic or maybe passionate enough about a sport to go full distance. Oftentimes, sports is how people get through school. But interestingly enough, it's not just an issue for the working class. It's also an issue for the industry at large, because, you know, a lot of the best athletes come from lower class situations because they're the ones with the motivation to work that hard on that sport in general. Because, I mean, realistically, sports versus if you have an opportunity to make money in banking or be a doctor or something, it's much less hard on your body. It's money you know you're going to get. It's not necessarily as good of a gamble if you have better opportunities. So the sporting industry is, you know, going to have a lot more issues as people can't necessarily participate in it. Because if you aren't like one of the top 100 high school athletes in the country, then AAU teams and stuff aren't going to pay for you to come and participate for them. So as inflation and prices continue to rise in the youth sporting industry in general, that's going to hurt professional sports at large. So and I know that's something that they are aware of in terms of people who were involved in professional sports teams and D1 and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it.
Yeah, well, and as you're laying out, this really is a communal challenge, meaning not just the communities that these young people come from, but a larger community challenge as well. And it's also important to note the benefits of youth sports. Jackson and I, have been talking about that global benefit to the individual, to their family, to their community, to the sports industry itself, and I would argue even to the world. So here are some physical and mental benefits of youth sports. Increased physical activity levels, improved cardiovascular fitness, improve bone health, increased overall quality of life. And if we are doing this with young people at a very young age, those benefits will continue to grow and build and multiply into their adulthood. How about that? And that helps with health and all kinds of things. So there is a tremendously positive ripple effect. And mental benefits of youth sports: lower rates of anxiety and depression, lower amounts of stress, higher self-esteem and confidence, and increased creativity. As I said before, we know that physical activity has a great impact on academics to the ultimate positive. So that is that. And on top of the financial burden, there's another burden associated, another element as explained by a pediatric orthopedic surgeon at the University of California, San Francisco. Let's put up what the doctor had to say. Even when looking at youth sports participation through the lens of health insurance, Fabricant et al. Found that youth with government/Medicaid or lacking health coverage had low levels of physical activity. Just too much watching of the TV. It's too much of that stuff. Well, they got to be out there moving the body, moving it. But there's a silver lining as some proposed action is being sought at the table. Let's put up this headline. League Apps-led coalition brings a bill to Congress to increase youth sports access nationally. That is a beautiful thing. And the PLAYS Act in youth sports is a bill established a $75 million annual grant program to support nonprofit organizations working to improve positive health and youth development through youth sports and participation. And League Apps is bringing it to Congress. Go ahead on League Apps. And one more point, the PLAYS Act in youth sports bill is a major development in the pursuit of the primary goal to ensure young people, particularly those in underserved communities, have access to sports in a safe environment and receive the physical, social, emotional, and cognitive benefits organized sports provides. So it really goes without saying, we got to keep on pushing and keep on supporting our young people and ensuring that all young people, regardless of their zip code or the income that their parents have or do not have, that they have equal and great opportunity to participate in sports. That indeed is a beautiful thing.